I'm CP, and in this video I'm reviewing Dior Homme Cologne. As per usual, this review was conducted using the Bespoke Unit Fragrance Formula, a quantifiable review matrix that you can use at home. Simply look in the description where you'll see a guide which teaches you how to use it and provides you with blank PDF versions. This is the 2013 version of Dior Homme Cologne, which replaces the 2007 version that came before it. The nose behind it is François Demachy, who is best known for his work on Dior Sauvage, but is a perfumer that works for the LVMH umbrella, so has worked for a number of other brands as well. Jumping right in, let's give this a spray. As you can see, this is quite a big bottle. I have a 200 milliliter version here, and I believe it's actually one of the only sizes you can get it in. You can only get it in this large format. So we'll do 2 sprays on the back of your hand, very thick mist there, and we're going to use this pre-filled fragrance formula where I've already given it an analysis, and I'm going to compare with my notes as I go. So the first thing about this fragrance is a very simple accord that consists of only a couple of notes. The head is described as bergamot, but I believe there is also some lemon there, since it's much zestier than regular bergamot on its own, which tends to be rather soft. Once at the heart, we have grapefruit blossom, which is quite an herbaceous citrus note. However, I believe there's also a slight hint of cologne in there, which adds a somewhat aquatic property, although it's very faint and it's been used in moderation if it is there at all. Once at the base, we have an element of muskiness, which adds some substance to the fragrance. I believe that this is ambergris, which adds a muskiness that could be compared to pipe tobacco, some suede leather, as well as, I believe, just a hint of cedarwood as well, that adds a little bit of dry powdered woodiness as well. Overall, this is a very simple fragrance. It is citrus and musk, mostly dominated by citrus, although you're just going to need a little bit of that musk as well to add a little bit of build, a little bit of, as I mentioned earlier, some substance to the overall body of the fragrance. And for those who are interested, this is based on the batch number 4Z02, which I believe is a relatively recent production of this. I'm not exactly sure when it was made. It was Paul, the founder of Bespoke Unit, who supplied me with the bottle. When it comes to the overall seasonality of this fragrance, as you can probably imagine, this is mostly centered around summertime and hot weather. This is indeed a perfect option for around the pool. It's a casual fragrance, as we'll get to later. This is something that you want to take to the beach, or maybe wear on an evening out when you're along the coast. You could potentially wear it during the late spring as well. However, this isn't something that you would really consider for fall and winter. When it comes to Dior Homme Cologne's weight and strength, as you can imagine, with such a limited quantity of notes, which are also quite volatile compounds, the longevity really isn't there. Indeed, this is a fragrance that will last for a couple of hours. You do get a couple of whiffs of it even once it's in a skin scent, but in terms of projection, sillage, the wake it leaves behind you, the trail, it's not going to be overly performance friendly. This is going to be something that's quite limited, and I would suggest that if you do wear it, you have a travel atomizer with you so you can top it up throughout the day. Then when it comes to Dior Homme Cologne's third-party feedback, I've got here a couple of comments such as smells refreshing and clean, great for summer, or seems pretty basic, it's nice but not much going on. Indeed, these tended to be the general consensus of the fragrance. People really liked its purity. It was very clean, bracing, refreshing. Then there's the other side of the scale that found it to be not bland, but lacking in character and personality. Overall, it's quite well received. It's not seen as something that's offensive and tends to be quite universally appreciated by different age groups. I wouldn't say it's something that will attract a particular age group in particular, although it is leaning towards the youthy side of things. Then moving on to the impressions of the fragrance, and this is kind of our high-level usage thoughts. The age range, first of all, what kind of age would be most suitable for wearing this? I would argue somebody in their 20s, but that being said, as I mentioned earlier, this is something that tends to be kind of universal, so it could either be worn by somebody in their 30s or 40s, or even a young guy in his late teens. As for the time of day, this is really, for me, a daytime fragrance. This is something to wear when the sun is out and it is hot, which leads on to the occasion where it's quite a casual fragrance. You could probably wear this in an office, more like a kind of relaxed business casual office. This would be an option indeed. but it's not going to be something you would wear to a formal occasion, and I probably wouldn't consider it for a date. And finally, the masculinity for this, well, it's actually quite mild. You could potentially wear this if you're a woman, or if you prefer more feminine and less overbearing fragrances. This is something that seems to be quite versatile in that respect. And this leads us on to the overall presentation. So first of all, the bottle follows the same style as the whole Dior Homme range, which is this boxy square shape with a slight smoked glass effect. Here they've gone for white, creamy milkiness, which is a little bit different. It sort of plays well with that purity concept that I discussed earlier. The lid is made out of acrylic, and there's a little bit of this like kind of white stopper in there as well. The atomizer has some nice details with Dior Homme written on it, as well as the Christian Dior initials on the top. Overall, it's quite nicely presented, more understated. I'm not a big fan of this big acrylic cap. I find it to be a little bit jarring, especially when compared with the glass. A different material could have perhaps been considered here. Otherwise, the performance of the atomizer produces a very thick mist and kind of spreads everywhere. Overall, the performance is quite good. It does have a tendency to water gun, as you can see, if you don't press it very firmly, and it does apply a lot. Then again, given its low performance, you're probably going to want to lather this on you. Moving on to the box follows the same theme as the rest of the Christian Dior Homme line. This one instead is white instead of black or any darker colors. And the texture of the paper is quite nice. Very understated presentation, as can be expected from these big French designer brands such as Chanel, for example, tends to follow a similar, more modest theme because it's so refined, it doesn't need to be flashy. And then finally, the value. So this is about $100 RRP. Because it comes in a 200 ml format, you expect to pay around $125, $130 for this. I find, to be honest, the value for what it provides is a little bit low, especially that it compares very similarly to something that I keep in my desk here, which is Versace Eau Fraiche, which is basically, it's almost the same fragrance, and it's at a fraction of the price. We also reviewed this on bespokeunit.com. You can see in the description below. The similarities are almost uncanny. I would argue that Christian Dior does offer you better quality. Nevertheless, given the low price point and the versatility of Versace, it does also offer a lot of benefits as an alternative. So really, it's entirely up to you. If you think that a casual seasonal fragrance for $125, $130 offers good value for money, then go for it. Personally, I would not spend that kind of money on just a casual summer fragrance myself. However, to conclude, this is an otherwise very good fragrance. It achieves what it is designed to do very well. It's very fresh, bracing, it has some musky substance as well, so it doesn't feel too fleeting, and it is good quality in the terms of the notes that it provides. They're very vivid, they're tangible, and they certainly have a lasting presence despite its relatively low performance compared to, for example, an eau de parfum. So that's all from me today, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and leave any comments below if you have any questions about Dior Homme, or if you have any recommendations of other fragrances that we cover. Until our next video, why don't you head to bespokeunit.com and see all the other men's lifestyle subjects that we cover. And I look forward to seeing you when we do publish the next one. Take care.